It's a beautiful morning. Let's have a coffee together. Have you ever asked yourself, is the life you're living right now the one you would have chosen again? This is a question I occasionally ask myself. I wish I could tell you I had always lived life on my own term, but that wasn't really the case. A lot of my life decisions were influenced by my own desire to live up to society's standards. As a child, I loved art and drawing. I used to have to walk 40 minutes each way to my art lessons, but that didn't bother me at all. The joy of painting made everything so worth it. I also really loved singing with my peers, which was why I joined the choir 3 years in a row. My other passion was writing essays and stories in Chinese. While others might see their homework as a chore, I really loved expressing myself in this beautiful language. You could say I had a bit of artistic element in me, but even as a teenager, I already decided those things that I enjoyed the most would have nothing to do with my future. I grew up in a loving family, and no one has ever forced me to do anything, but there was always this underlying pressure to measure up to that arbitrary success set by society or the media. I remember being told being an artist meant struggling to make a living. Publishing a book was a mission impossible, so why bother writing? And what's the point of excelling in just one language when there are so many others to explore? All these casual messages came from a good place, but it did make me think success had to look a certain way and a certain way only. So, at a young age, I was already secretly planning my future. I had a very clear vision of how everything would pan out, including passing exams with flying colors, receiving a scholarship, joining a certain profession, having a professional status, making a healthy living, buying shiny things, and living a certain lifestyle. To my 14-year-old self, that was the definition of success and a free pass to my happily ever after. After years of hard work, my vision more or less became a reality. But even though from the outside it looked like I had ticked all the boxes on my own very long checklist, life still wasn't happily ever after. I still had my fair share of stress, fear, and insecurity. And deep down, it felt like I was following a script written by someone else. In the first 5 to 7 years after graduation, I was so consumed by work and other responsibilities. Life was so busy that I actually had no time to slow down and ask myself if I was chasing the dream of my own. What would life look like now if I had the courage to follow my passion and pursue a completely different path and career? What if I embraced my creativity a bit more? I'm aware we can't change the past, but it doesn't mean there's no value in doing reflections. By asking these questions, I realized while I can't turn back time, I do have control over this life that I'm living right now. I recently decided to take a leave of absence from my professional job after a lot of planning. But even before I took that leap of faith, I already decided that working a certain job didn't mean I couldn't do the things I used to enjoy so much as a child. If I really wanted to, I could always bring back those things into my life. Like everyone else, I have good days and bad days. On my bad days, I often wished I had longer breaks, a less stressful career, more flexibility, and more time to do what I love. But on the whole, I never regret the path I've taken, because that very journey shaped the reality and the life I'm living right now. I have financial security, a loving family, a supportive YouTube community, a healthy and able body, my passion, and so much more to be thankful for. Before I go on, I want to thank our sponsor today, Squarespace. My website is a creative outlet for me. It's a space where I can share anything I want. I started using Squarespace even before they reached out to me because it's so easy to use. I recently added a page to showcase my illustrations, and it took me less than an hour to put everything together. I love that I never have to worry about any technical issues like coding, plugins, and updates. Everything is taken care of by Squarespace behind the scene, and I can just focus on being creative and working on the things that I actually enjoy doing. I think there's so much value in having your own website, especially in this day and age. I have friends who are healthcare workers in the day, but they do photography and wedding makeup on the side. And having a website helps them reach more clients and like-minded people. I also have colleagues who showcase their clinical cases on their professional websites. Whatever project you have in mind, Squarespace makes it really easy. They have an amazing selection of templates for everything you can think of. Go to Squarespace for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/colourfulnoir to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. One very interesting thing about working as a dentist is you will meet all walks of life. One common ice-breaking question I often like to ask is, what do you do for a living, and do you enjoy it? Many patients have told me they'd rather be doing something else if money wasn't in the picture. My next question is often, what is that something else, and do you explore it in your free time? To that, most people tend to say, well, I just don't have the time. Interestingly, I've had similar conversation with my co-workers, and majority have told me the same. You can imagine why for years I assumed the human race were limited to only two options. Option 1, follow your passion but struggle to make ends meet. Or option 2, do what you're not wholeheartedly passionate about but earn a healthy paycheck. I am not here to romanticize the idea of giving everything up and magically turning your passion into a full-time job overnight. Although that would be a nice thing to work towards, and it has happened to some people. I think we all know money plays a big role in our daily life, so I don't want to downplay the importance of having a stable job and a steady paycheck. Let's be honest, those passions and hobbies sometimes need money to sustain. When I decided to start illustrating, for example, I needed an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and the Procreate app. The iPad Pro was a big purchase, so if it wasn't for my day job, I would have struggled to pay for the gadget to make this passion even possible for me to enjoy. Another example is my ice skating lessons, which I've been taking in the last 12 months. I'll tell you, ice skating isn't something you can learn on YouTube. So my point is, we all need to make a living somehow. But what I realized in the last few years is, while I can't change how life works, I can make a difference in the way I spend my money. Instead of always wanting to buy the next Chanel handbag, I now see my money as a resource to invest in my well-being, do more of what I love, and live my life the way I want. My husband and I know exactly how much we need to sustain our current lifestyle. Having a clear idea about our expenses gives us room and leverage in managing our work commitment. I mean, what's the point of owning a very fancy iPad if I was constantly working and I had no time to draw? By being intentional with our spendings, I realized I don't need to overwork myself, and it's my choice to decide if I really want to take on that extra project or work overtime. I guess it's nice to earn some extra money to expand my designer handbag collection, but I now value having the space and the time to slow down and work on myself and my passions more. Owning nice things is lovely, but I don't need someone else to define what is enough for me. More importantly, I don't want to chase somebody else's dream or Instagram image. So what is my dream? Truthfully, I hope one day I'll be able to see for myself what life would actually look like if I did follow the other path. Over the last 4 to 5 years, my husband and I have been investing heavily for our future. Our goal is to not heavily rely on our paychecks from the day jobs. I now also make a small living from my channel, which I'm really thankful for because it means I'm diversifying my income. At the moment, I'm really enjoying drawing and illustrating, and it's my wildest dream to turn it into a small business at some point in the future. I'm not sure what it would look like exactly, but I hope one day I'll get to fully embrace my creativity without having to worry about financial commitments. I've heard passion only stays a passion when you don't have to rely on it like a job. Not too long ago, I really wouldn't have thought all these were remotely possible. The notion of following your passion just seemed like a fairy tale that only happened to someone else. And to be completely honest, I did carry a bit of resentment with me, especially when life was so busy and chaotic. For years, I wondered if life would have been easier if I was brave enough to choose the other path. I guess it's easy to assume the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, I'm glad to say I've decided a while ago that rather than fixating my energy on those what-ifs and the regrets for not choosing the other option, it's so much more rewarding and productive to work on creating a more fulfilled version of my current life, the one I'm living right now. Like I said, I'm on a break from my professional career at the moment, and I really appreciate the opportunity where I can reflect and explore. If you're lucky enough to have followed your passion wholeheartedly, please inspire us with your story and let us know what life looks like for you. Thank you for being here, take care, and I will see you soon.